Good evening to our panelists, Srinivas DP and Vamsi Krishna. As we are just discussing, we did in the past with hospitals, then we did for warehouses. Today we are talking about surveillance in educational institutions. As all of you know, this surveillance, the monitoring system is completely different from warehouse to hospital to healthcare or a hospitality industry or a commercial establishment to educational institution. So why we picked up educational institution? Because it's a complex monitoring system in schools and colleges, especially after pandemic. You want to monitor the performance of the classrooms and the teachers and the students. And even though sometimes they may be online, how do you track them? And there's so many incidents in the country, in schools. You could also see, especially in Kerala, I'm a Malayali, I could see drugs just outside the compound of people, unidentified people loitering near the compound, trying to sell the drugs to the student. Now, how these life-threatening or very important incident is not recorded. You may record, but I don't think that you can get those incidents the way you want. So what does the video management system do in this scenario? How can schools and universities get maximum advantage of your existing cameras and security? So today the panelists are going to elaborate how the VMS can help and enhance the monitoring, security, and maximize the resources. So I would like to present to you the DURANC, one of the India's leading video management system. DURANC provides its vision solutions that transform existing CCTV setup into smart surveillance solution. It's very important to note, it's a smart surveillance solution through artificial intelligence and video analytics. Founded in 2015, DURANC gathered a highly talented global team to create this cloud-based platform. Their innovative video streaming and storage technology offers clients that ultimate in video surveillance functionality delivered seamlessly from the cloud. DURANC helps businesses and organizations to maximize the potential of their surveillance camera. To do this, DURANC built a secure, reliable, and cost-effective video platform that provides users with deeply intelligent analytics and insight in real time. They are headquartered in US, they have R&D in Finland. The global development and support is based on Hyderabad. Mr. Srini. Okay. We have a speaker today, Mr. DP Srinivas. He's a CRO from DURANC Tech Service based in Hyderabad. He has 22 years of diverse experience in various industries. He is the co-founder and CRO of DURANC Inc., the leading provider of video surveillance analytics as a service. He has been instrumental in shaping the product design and features and providing market insight. Being a voracious reader and extensive traveler, he is a strong believer in concept of innovative ideas coupled with strategic implementation and commercialization lead to create job and wealth. This mantra can lead corporate India to become world economic leader. Very wonderful statement, wonderful vision of Mr. DP Srinivas. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
We have Vamsi Krishna, CEO of DURANC Tech Service. Vamsi has 25 years of cross-functional management experience. He has extensive experience in dealing with cross-cultural teams and customers from across the globe, including US, Europe, South Africa, and Middle East. As the head of operation of DURANC for over 8 years, he has overseen development, implementation, and support of the cutting-edge DURANC Vision Smart Surveillance solutions. With strong focus on quality, he has spearheaded the implementation of ISO 9000 and product development and technical support process within the organization. As a technical evangelist, he advocates and helps customers benefit from understanding the limitations of the technology innovations in the surveillance industry. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it's a continuous webinar that we have been doing every month. Today, we are focusing especially on the educational institutions. So as every month, we'll be covering various market segments. Let us all join together and understand, benefit out of this wonderful short webinar. And we are here to support your requirements and understanding to meet your clients. So over to DP Srinivas and Vamshi Krishna. It's yours now.
Right. Thank you, Dominic. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We would like to take this presentation in a kind of interactive mode. So we request you, in case if you have any questions, please raise your hand, hand raise, or through submitting a question in the chat. Going back to what Dominic said, education industry, or what you call educational institutions per se, they are very kind of like, submitting all these high-end educational tools and creating and imparting high education to all the kids. There is a lot of, talk about Indian education across the world. Our fundamentals are so strong. We are, so good in giving trainings and, early education. But having said that, these institutions build their reputation decades together. It won't happen overnight. So most of the institutions, more than 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in India. So these are all, struggle on a daily basis to keep up that reputation. But what happens is one or two incidents that we have seen in, many situations, which is out of control, could have been controlled, but, prevention was not done. So those kind of a scenario, the decades of, the reputation that is built will dilute in no time. And, prevention of these incidents is better than, trying to rebuild the reputation, what you see in most of the cases. So having said that, what is the primary importance of what you have installed already? Every institution got dozens of cameras, and most of them, you don't even know whether they are recording anything, or if they are recording, there is no way you can retrieve on an incident basis, or most of the times, this data gets piled up so much, it's, pretty much lost data. And, there is no point whenever there is an incident happens, if you just want to look up for a vehicle that has come in the morning, it becomes humanly impossible because somebody has dropped. There's an incident in one of the schools that principal has explained to me. They get hundreds of cars in the morning. They drop at 8:30, between 8:30 and 9. And one of the person has come back to the school and said, my driver has dropped, the kid at 8:30, but you are not allowed him inside because it is beyond 9 o'clock. The school doesn't have any track record of the vehicles that are passing, dropping, and then going. Could have been a very, very easy 2 minutes job of retrieval, and then, preventing the scenario of any blame game. So these are the very simple things that need to be there. God forbid if an incident happens, you need to have proper retrieval, you need to have proper, incident management, and proactively you can mitigate this. Having said that, I'll request Vamshi to open the presentation. Vamshi, we can drive it through. So how do we prevent is what our focus is, and what are the challenges today in this kind of a scenarios? how the institutions can step in and then create an ecosystem on the surveillance, which you have already existing cameras, no need to replace most of them. Apart from those, you can actually reinforce more cameras, but keeping all these cameras in coexistence with the different brands and breeds, how do you actually better manage them is what we are going to focus today. So if you see the concerns, I briefly explained one or two of them, but you have seen most of them in your institutions. The ecosystem of education to combine with complete safety is very important for any institution. A lot of times there will be minor violence or bullying or the vandalism that happens, and somebody claiming that something is not right, and then no information about this student safety during the transport. If your kid is on the bus, is there a live stream that goes to parents from the bus so that they can see the kids getting dropped off at the school? And when they dropped off at the school, if you have a face recognition mechanism there, when every kid is coming out of the bus, capture the face and then send information to the parent saying that kid has been got inside the school, getting down the bus. And from there, when they walk into the school, when they go to the classroom, the count of the classroom, or if only few people are there in the classroom, say for example, only 2 people are there in the classroom, that is minimum 2, then do you get a alert saying, there's only 2 people in the classroom? Because what we have noticed in most of the cases, if there are 2 people in the classroom, what the educational institution management said is that's a no, right? It has to be either no one or it has to be the group of the people, right? So those kind of scenarios that comes up, which you can prevent them very easily with the proactive intelligence, right? So the incidents of suspects, incident of unknown people coming close to the school, or the vehicles that are coming past by and you don't have the record of them. And when buses come into your premises, your own buses, when it comes, you take the number and then you can inform the management that these are the buses passed and came through. I think there is a question that says IP cameras and analog cameras. Vamshi will cover that in the technical aspect. We do work with both IP and analog cameras. So what is to cover and what are the areas of concern when it comes to the surveillance? Yes, you have kept too many cameras in there, but like what Dominic said, are these cameras are functional in terms of what they are supposed to do, right? So the hallway camera got a different functionality versus the school bus tracking camera. The camera inside the school bus got a different functionality. So school entrances, drop-off points, restricted areas, classrooms, all these different areas should be covered. Primarily, they might have been already covered. You don't need to replace any of those cameras, be it analog or IP cameras. Keep those and deploy a solution which can give AI-based intelligence and then create out of that feed, give situational awareness to the management. Like say, for example, in the school bus, there is a scuffle, right? So you need to address that. But if you give access to the live stream, because it's hardly 1 to 2 hours that the bus travels, if that live feed is coming back to your school, and also you want to share that to the parents, 30 kids picked up, and if you want to give 30 streams to their parents so that they can watch live, it will eliminate the anxiety of somebody, right? So all these things, including small accidents that happens in gym and auditoriums, all these can be captured and then can be retained, retrieved, and also proactively, mitigated.
Yeah, basically what I would like to say is the approach that you typically take for ensuring the safety and security of your premises would be you would first try to identify what are the concern areas for your specific school or institution. So this is the common minimum that we have depicted here. But you may have other areas, like for example, if you already have hostels as well in there, so you need to ensure add related to the hostel. For example, you may want to cover the dining area, you may want to cover the kitchen area. So those will get added up. But basically the idea is that you will need to identify what are the areas of concern for you for one location, and then you can extrapolate it to all the other locations and then combine it. There is a question in the chat, we will address that going forward. But typically for each of your locations, you identify what are your areas of concern is the main aspect. That's the starting point for you. And for each area of concern, what would be the risks and how do you mitigate them? How do you, what are the right solutions for each of those areas of concern is the approach that we typically recommend to take.
If you see, the left side and right side, you have two different, areas, and it got two different kind of, scenarios that can be captured from the camera. Students living with a stranger, if we have facial recognition already installed, and the students living without permission are trespassing unknown people, vehicle parked in no parking zones, which can cause accidents, right? So, and on the right side, if you see the presence of unauthorized personnel and breaking and entering from the wrong doors or intrusion during the off hours, like after 8 o'clock, you don't want anybody to move around in the classrooms, right? So will you get a automated, alert that one of the classroom there is after 7 o'clock, somebody is there. So for this, the AI-based intrusion detection, AI-based loitering, and AI-based facial recognition, automatic number plate, and stopped vehicle analytic, all these will prevent these two, the drop-off areas and the restricted areas. So those are the solutions with primarily the existing cameras. I want to reiterate that because when we say all these artificial intelligence-based analytics can be applied, 99% of the time we get a question, what happens to my cameras? So for us, cameras are just a simple device that gives me the feed. And everything happens on the algorithmic side, on the server side or the cloud side, which you don't need to replace the existing cameras. You may add more because if some areas are not covered, that you may add new cameras, but you don't need to, replace any one of them in existing. Like I said, the other areas of the concern where the main office receptions and hallways and the school entrances, you have vandalism, misuse, or graffiti painting, after school aggression, and bullying of accidents, remote, all these things, including vehicle tracking, visitor management, improper student pickup, drop off, breaking and entering. So all these can be covered with the intrusion. Okay. Another thing I would like to say is we don't do anything on motion based. In DURANC, everything that we do is on artificial intelligence based. So the machine learning is done, and all these analytics are run on top of the VMS what we have. And the advantage of these two integrated into one solution, the seamless application of AI happens when the feed actually comes to the cloud or to the local implementation. Most of the time, if you have a VMS and if you have a third-party analytic, you get an integration of both of them. And it's not seamless in terms of transformation and real-time alert generation. In our case, everything is endemic to DURANC. Everything is internal to DURANC. Both the feed that comes from the cameras and the management of all the users in the system and applying the analytics on top of that feed is what is our forte. And if you see, the other aspect is when we are saying different areas of concern, those areas of concerns may be different, right? From one camera, what I'm getting is, like, say, if you want to do crowd numbering, and if you want to do the stopped vehicle from the same camera, you can do the both together. And other areas we have listed out is gymnasiums and recreational areas and common areas. Vamshi, you want to take over that?
Yeah, basically for each of these areas of concern, you can identify from your perspective what are the main important points. Not all of them may be applicable for everybody. Or maybe something else is more important for you from what is listed here or what we have portrayed here. So you can identify what are your areas of concern and what is the main concern for that particular area of concern, whether it is misuse, whether it is people coming into the gymnasium or auditorium after hours, for example, maybe they in the name of study, for example, study hours, etc. So whatever be the area of concern, we can look at how that is best addressed using AI. And as we say, it's AI, it need not be the existing analytics, but we can train the system to cater to a specific detection of anomalies, specific requirements as well. However, there are common ones that are generally applicable all across, and using minimum staffing, for example, to ensure that people enter the gymnasium only when the gym instructor is there available. Otherwise, people are not allowed to enter, for example. Or you can ensure that minimum 1 or 2 people, depending on the requirement, you can say that 2 minimum people should be available at any point of time. Then that's minimum staffing. Loitering, you are aware of what is loitering. One is in terms of the safety and security. One is also when you are conducting some sporting events, if you would like to broadcast it to a larger audience, all your parents and other community, that's also possible through the solution. So using the same cameras, you should be able to broadcast it and stream it live to all other parties. The analytics that are mentioned here, for example, facial recognition, can be applied in different scenarios in a different way. Same thing for vehicle tracking, whether it is with automatic number plate detection or whether it is related to the vehicles parked in the no parking zone. Typically, there is a drop-off zone, but if a vehicle stays there for a longer time, do you automatically get notified of that? So you can dispatch somebody to immediately take an action. So that's something that you need to look at from each individual area of concern. What is the primary area that you would like to address in that area, and then how best to apply the AI in it. Yeah, so here are a few more, actually a couple more of those areas of concern. So from each point of view, we have mentioned what would be ideal analytic to apply in particular scenario. For example, valuable items that should not go missing from the classrooms or laboratories. You can ensure that there is an object watch alert automatically. If anybody removes that object from that particular location, a valuable item, then you automatically get notified. So loitering, intrusion, facial recognition, which is basically identifying the people inside. Those are generally applicable across multiple areas of concern. Yeah, this is related to monitoring while in the transport. Typically, most of the institutions would have some kind of GPS tracking typically, but very rarely we have seen schools or institutions providing live view capability, whether it is for internal administrators or whether it is for the parents, depending on the need. So the solutions should be able to are capable of providing that live stream to multiple parents. See here, one of the challenges is even if you have deployed cameras, typically you will have a 4G or 5G type of a connectivity inside the bus. And if multiple people watch at the same time, you will hit some roadblocks there because not more than 3 streams or so, 2 or 3 streams can come out. With the DURANC solution, basically only 1 stream comes out. So from the camera or from the bus, we get 1 stream per camera. If you, let's say you deploy 2 cameras, only those 2 streams come to the platform, irrespective of how many number of people watch it at the same time. So maybe all the, you have 40 parents watching and your administrators watching, only the 2 streams come from the bus and the system takes care of distributing it. So optimizing the resource utilization. That's an advantage there. So would you like to add anything on this point, please?
No, end of the day, bandwidth is also a big concern when you have a solution, right? So multiple streams that are going into the, to 50 parents or 40 parents, a lot of times you lose the, connectivity, or if the bandwidth is allocated to that SIM card is limited, it gets, over within no time. So that's where we do unicast into our cloud. and then distribute that as a multicast to all the 40 or 50 parents. So everybody gets the same experience without, losing of the value.
So once you have notified these or noted these areas of concern and how best to address each of them, you would need to look for a solution that can provide you all these capabilities or has those capabilities, and which is also easier to use. So it's one thing to have the technology that addresses all your needs. It's completely another to ensure that your users are able to use that particular technology. Most of the cases is that the people who are working at the institutes, who are in charge of, or who are at the base level of immediately taking action, because it's not the head of the institutions that will be looking at these. Then he can't do anything else. Obviously, you will delegate it to the people at the lower level who will immediately actually need to take the action. They are the ones who are taking action, and it is important that they should be well versed, and they should be able to handle any incidents that arise, or they should be notified. So they are the ones that the system should be designed keeping them in mind, and that's where DURANC focus its energies and ensure that it doesn't require a lot of technical skills to use it. The user experience is the primary area. So when we built the solution, it's built on the 4 major pillars of ensuring that it works with existing cameras. That was the first criteria for us. That as DURANC built the solution with the idea of do more with surveillance, as Dominic initially mentioned during the presentation. So we started off with the idea of doing more with surveillance. Surveillance should not mean just putting up some cameras, recording them in an NVR or a DVR, and only when some incident happens, you go and watch, look for the recording and try to identify the suspect or whatever. So that's how the typical surveillance had been. And then you set up some monitors if you have some budgets, and if you are able to allocate resources for it, then you also have people who are regularly or continuously monitoring those cameras. So that's how surveillance has been. It's basically eyeball monitoring. So from eyeball monitoring, we transform it to an incident-based response, management by exceptions, for example, MBE model. So to be able to do that, the first aspect is first thing is, because everybody has cameras are all pervasive. So we should not have restrictions in terms of what cameras can be used, what cameras cannot be used. The idea is that bring any camera, your own device, and be able to connect to the platform for both a VMS side of things, which is basically ability to connect from multiple locations, ability to provide offsite storage on the cloud, for example, or at your central data center, either way, so that you will have a backup when the local recording fails at some point due to something happens, a fire, an accident happens. You should not lose the entire data. You still will have the backup at your secondary storage at the cloud or at your data center. So providing the features of connectivity across your multiple locations with connecting any make and model of existing cameras, providing offsite storage, ability to create users as required, any number of users, and give specific users access to specific cameras. So if your location A, the security in charge of location A will have access to only location A, and the location B will have access to only location B. So you should be able to have that distinction and ensure your proper access control is managed. All that is part of the VMS, and that's a part of the solution that is built across using these 4 pillars of the solution. The ability to grow and ability to be flexible with the needs as your growing needs. So some cameras you may want to have 7 days of offsite storage. Some cameras you may want to keep it for 30 days. Some cameras may be at very high resolution. Some cameras may be at a lower resolution. So all that we should be able to manage at an individual camera level. That is the idea for providing the flexibility and the scalability. And from a usage perspective, it's, as I said, it's very important that the layman should be able to use the system. And all it requires is a browser. There is no plugin required. There is no other additional software that is required. Typical scenarios, you would be well aware of it. If you install Make A of the camera, you would need Make A software to be able to watch live or watch recordings. you have make-be, then you need a different software. And even when you are using the browser, you still need to install some plugins, and sometimes these plugins conflict with each other. You will face issues. So from our solution, from DURANC, there is no need for any additional software. There is no additional plugin required. Directly on the browser, you log in to the platform, and then based on your access that is granted by your administrator, you will have access to all those cameras, live recordings, or analytic data, etc. So that's the simplicity that's built in the system. Security is a primary focus, because typically the solution is a cloud native solution, which is to say it's delivered from the cloud as a video surveillance as a service, VSaaS. However, it does support multiple modes of deployment. A hybrid model is possible, or a complete on-prem deployment is also possible. So in any mode, security is kept at the core of the solution. All the data is encrypted end to end, both in transit and at rest. And you have two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication for the user logins is possible. Privacy for the cameras is assured, because there are layers of security that's built in the platform. You can say that nobody will have access to these cameras, and then even your provider will not have access. Even in the cloud provider will not have access to any cameras. So all that is built in from a security perspective. And the primary, the fourth, last but not least, is the AI that is inbuilt. So typically there are solutions that focus more on the VMS side of it, or there are solutions that are focusing on providing AI with a few analytics, a couple of analytics from somebody, couple of analytics from somebody else, facial recognition from somebody else, license plate from somebody else, like that. But DURANC is a provider that is providing all of it as an integrated single solution from both AI and VMS. AI being the fourth pillar of our solution. All the analytics are based on computer vision and machine learning. So neural networks are used using GPU architectures, and all of them are custom-built network models built by DURANC. And it can be further tuned and trained as we deploy more and more solutions. We also provide APIs, so you can integrate with existing systems. For example, when the license plate is recognized, it can automatically notify to your systems of what vehicles entered, or for facial recognition, it can get into an attendance management, for example. So that API integrations are well defined and available in the system. So from all the areas of concern that we saw and the possibilities of applying the analytics, what is the end result that we are looking for? The end result is, when you have multiple locations, the end result that we look for with a smart surveillance solution is be able to conduct centralized audits, for example, ability to watch all your locations without having to have login separately to each location. Single login, you will have access to all of it. You can audit all your locations, verify what's going on there. Obviously, safety as a concern, risk management, improved risk management, both for transport scenario as well as in-house in the institution scenario, by ensuring some of the analytics like minimum staffing, as we said, if there are staff available or not when students come in. So obviously facility protection, SOP adherence, ensuring that all the your processor are adhering to the standards, operating procedures, etc. So these are the end results that we look for from the solution. And how are these results obtained? It's obtained by taking the video feed, processing them, giving real-time notifications in the real time to appropriate personnel. So if it's an incident that happens inside the school, maybe the school administrator gets it. If it's an incident that is happening from a vehicle perspective, maybe the security officer is informed. Depending, you can decide who should be informed of what kind of an incident or what kind of an event that is triggered in the system. So real-time notifications are sent out. You can also integrate it with a bit of automation is also possible. Like, for example, if there is any intrusion in the night, a hooter alarm can go off automatically. So somebody enters a gymnasium area or auditorium in the night, then immediately a hooter sign can go off, alarm can go off. So that integration is also there in the platform, which gives you a level of automation. This is what well-built or well-thought-out implementation of surveillance should provide, and that's what DURANC provides. Just to give you an idea of how the solution would be, it's basically a centralized view. So across your locations, you have a geo map of all your locations. You can get into any particular location, watch the cameras live or recordings of those particular locations. You can also have a single view of all the camera health across all your locations, whatever be the number of cameras. So you have a health, you are aware at any given point of time in real time that your cameras are actually functioning. You don't need to go back and realize at some point later that some camera was not recording. You will have an immediate notification available with you. So you can ask the vendor to correct it, because we don't expect that there will be only one guy providing all the solutions. When you have multiple vendors providing different services, different solutions, the system can also notify the vendor of the CCTV who installed the CCTV, for example, with the CC to you, passing a copy of that notification to you. So the vendor can directly come and rectify that camera, for example. We have a possibility for all the events that get triggered. You have real-time notifications that pop up. All these notifications are provided as reports as well. So you know what kind of incidents are frequently happening. You can do a trend analysis, for example, of what type of incidents are happening more and from what areas of concern those are happening more, etc. From across these incidents that get triggered, you also have a smart search feature. So you can look for a specific type of a person or an object across all these incidents. That's also possible. So you can locate a guy who traveled across in multiple locations, for example. So as I said, we wanted to move away from an eyeball monitoring perspective to an incident-based management. And this is the one that allows you to do that, which is to say, whenever any event is triggered, automatically that event is popped up on this command center page. So you don't need to keep watching all the cameras all the time. So you get a pop-up of it along with the live view of the particular camera in which the incident was triggered. So you have this view, and you also have a possibility for the agent who is monitoring it, the security guard maybe, to take an action on it. He can also escalate it for his manager to review, for example. Then he can review it and take an action. So what action is taken on it can also be recorded in this. So you will have it as a record for reference. So instead of having to monitor all the cameras all the time, you focus your energies on whenever any incident happens, immediately you can take an action on it on the end. So there are multiple benefits with the solution like this. From a security perspective, you would have access to all your premises so that you can immediately respond to incidents. From an IT perspective, you can better coordinate with all your internal customers, provide the right solution to your security teams if IT is handling the security deployments, for example. And you will have lesser systems to maintain because you don't have multiple solutions doing multiple things. It's a one integrated solution for both video management as well as the analytics. It's much easier to maintain, especially since we use existing cameras. This is a key point because if you use typical solutions wherein the analytics are inbuilt in the camera, because these days cameras do come with analytics inbuilt in them. So you will have to worry about what kind of camera. If the camera is defective, for example, you will have to replace it with exact similar camera. If you are using a camera for facial recognition, then you will have to replace that with a facial recognition camera. If you are using a camera for license plate recognition, when maintenance happens, you will have to replace it with that. So all of that headache is eliminated because we are completely camera agnostic. Any type of camera can be connected and the feeds can be analyzed through the platform itself. So there are operations team benefits, and overall as an administration, it improves all the stakeholder confidence in terms of the safety and security provided by the institution, both parents, students, and the staff. So why DURANC is basically the primary reasons why DURANC would help in smart surveillance of your institutions is with its proactive notifications. It's not a reactive management anymore. You get proactive notifications across. It's a platform that's scalable. It's not a solution that you are deploying for one specific problem. It's a platform that allows you to do multiple things, even including the possibility to create new or additional analytics on top of the existing ones. You don't need to have eyeball monitoring all the time. It's basically you manage it by exceptions or through incident management. And finally, DURANC works as your technology partner. It's not just a CCTV vendor, completely device agnostic, and then work with you to develop any newer anomaly detections, etc. So before I close, I'd like to just leave you with this thought. This is a study that was conducted by Shane Dawson. Basically, I think you can read it for yourself. Not having complete understanding of the technology that is used behind the surveillance in place, it adds to a disciplining effect. I think we are all aware of it. Typically, that's how CCTV was used earlier. So the moment you see there is a camera on the wall or on the ceiling, then you are more careful. Like typically, whether it is functioning or not is irrespective of that. But now those days are gone, people will know it. But now with AI, it adds another layer of it, because people will not know to what extent AI is being used and how it is used. So it automatically helps in terms of ensuring compliance, ensuring less incidents, and keeping more safe and secure environment across. Yeah, with that, I think from my side, I'll close it. Back to the floor.
Yeah. Thank you, Vamshi. His own question: what is the USP of your solution? Same solutions are also available in the market. So what is that? I think probably the statement that you made, it is not the packaged software. It's probably user software that we could probably talk about.
Yes, I think probably the presentation would have addressed that point, but just to reiterate on the point, DURANC is completely camera agnostic. It's software that works with any type of camera, any make and model of the camera, and gives you the intelligence insights. So it's an integrated solution that is covering both the video management, which is to say the recordings, ability to locate a specific recording for a specific time, offsite storage, ability to create multiple users and giving access to the specific users, all of it from a video management perspective, and also the video analytics perspective. So running video analytics, any number of analytics on any camera using the same video feed that you have on the existing cameras. That's how the differentiation is.
Yeah, Abdul Najib is asking, can DURANC provide tech solution with cloud storage?
Yes. See, we have different implementation models. Either the entire DURANC can run from cloud, or you can have the entire solution deployed on premises, or you can also do a hybrid model where your analytics are running locally and your metadata is coming to the cloud. Through cloud, you get notification, real-time notifications. So it's very flexible in terms of implementation models. I'll ask Vamshi to elaborate on that.
Yeah, sorry, I was just missing the point.
No, about the implementation models,
Yeah,
when we can provide the cloud storage,
yes. Yeah, the offsite storage, basically can be provided on the cloud depending on the number of days that you would need. Basically, we use Microsoft Azure for security reasons, basically, but we are not tied with any particular cloud provider. It can be any other cloud provider if you already have a preference, or if you have your own data center, it could be on your own data center as well, on-prem deployment. So the deployment models are quite flexible in the solution. So it could be delivered directly from our Azure cloud, or if you're using Google Cloud or AWS, you could do that. Or you have your own data center where you want to keep all the storage, we could do that as well.
Right. Just to give a perception, we have integrated almost 380 locations for one of the customer, with almost 4,500 cameras to stream to the cloud and for the analytics purpose. So it can be all these locations of 380. You can imagine every make and model of the camera is available there. So we seamlessly connected all of them to the cloud, and there is a differential storage that is selected by the customer. So some cameras at the entrance, they want 180 days. Some cameras inside, they want just 7 days. So at an individual camera level, you can define what is the amount of storage, how many number of days you want to get it stored. You can keep that. And when the analytics happen, the real time, what Vamshi has shown, the command control center also, it is integrated into the platform. So when somebody is doing a remote monitoring of 30 locations, 40 locations, or 80 locations, they only get the notifications based on the events, and they don't need to do the eyeball monitoring. We have network, retail kind of a scenario, more than 100 of them, where they all integrate to one, and then one command control center works. So that may not be an exact example for the education system, but the application wise, it can be 100 locations or 500 locations. It is no matter to us.
Okay, we have Nitin Deshmukh. If you can unmute, you have raised the hand. We have added you on the panel. You have any question, Deshmukh? You can probably unmute and ask. Deshmukh, are you there? Nitin Deshmukh?
Okay, there was a question in terms of whether people counting is available or not. Just for reference purposes, I wanted to put up this screen. This is an indicative list of the analytics that are integrated in the solution already. We're not specifying some of the analytics that were custom built for specific customers. They are not included here, but these are the ones that are generic and are applicable, are available for on any camera. You can apply any of these analytics without any restriction. So yeah, people count, somebody was asking.
Right. There is one question in the QA box about integration of the fire panel. See, DURANC is a very open architecture. Like what we said, we have upstream APIs and downstream APIs as a push API or a pull API. If some solutions need these event data or live streams, we can actually send it to the third-party listeners. And the third party can take those and then create their own applications, whether they want to create an Android app or they want to create something which is integrated into their HRM system or integrated into their security system. All those are possible back and forth. And we also do customized analytics for a specific kind of a use case that may be only for a specific need-based analytic. That also we build and deploy for that particular customer for a turnkey. And the question about the control panel integrations, any kind of a IoT information that is passed back to us, we are primarily a video based platform. We are not a database-based platform. But if you need that to be integrated into our command control center solution, it can be brought and then provided as dashboard as an additional feature. So like I said, this is completely flexible. So you come up with something, we can actually deploy them or develop them.
Jayant is asking very interesting questions. For school bus live camera viewing and recording, which solution do you provide? Where school bus cameras are recording, how parents can view? Can you explain?
Okay, so let me paint a picture of it. You have a bus, you have two cameras, and the two cameras are connected to a local device, which we suggest a local device, right, with a SIM card. So that's our DURANC gateway, which is a small footprint hardware, single board computer kind of a thing, very less expensive. And that actually takes the feed from the camera and pushes to our cloud. So while we are taking that feed, we're only taking one stream to push it to the cloud. We are not taking multiple streams. Okay, so that makes it very economical for the SIM card, because SIM card usage is had to be very, the cost is high and the low bandwidth is available. Once that hits our cloud, it actually distributes as a multicast to even 50 parents or 60 parents. So you don't need to worry about increasing the bandwidth. In a generalized sense, what will happen from the bus, if 50 parents are watching live one-to-one, right, P2P, then your camera feeds are taken and then completely pushed to all the 50 parents. In our case, it is not that. We are only taking one single feed and then distributing it from our cloud. So the cloud is the one which is managing. like your television channel, that's where the broadcast happens from the cloud. So it is not like a stream, it's a broadcast at that point.
Okay, Tapas Chatterjee is asking a question. How do you connect to a system directly through a network switch with static IP? What's the real-time display response? Tapas Chatterjee. Vamshi,
So,
over to you.
yeah, so basically there are multiple ways in which we connect to the camera feed. If the location has public IP available, then the cloud platform can directly connect to the cameras, either directly to the camera or through the NVR or DVR. Both options are possible. So if the port forwarding is done to the NVR, from the NVR, we can connect to all the other camera feeds that are there that are connected to that NVR. Or you do port forwarding to the camera directly, all the cameras can be accessed. Now, in the case of scenario where there is no public IP or static IP available at that particular location, we go with what is called the DURANC gateway model, which Mr. Srinivas explained just now in the bus scenario. So there is a small footprint device that is kept at the location in which the DURANC gateway software gets deployed. And this software enables the connectivity from the cameras of that particular location to the DURANC cloud platform securely. So that you can actually, from the central location, you can discover the cameras that are there in that local network, add those cameras and configure them and manage all those cameras through the gateway software that we provide. So that's how both connectivity models are available, whether you have a public IP at the location or whether you don't have a public IP at the location, and whether you have IP cameras at the location or analog cameras at that location. All of them can be brought into a single platform for centralized management and administration.
And analytics too.
Yes,
Yeah.
On top of any camera, you can apply any of the analytics.
So Satish Kumar is asking, does the camera require any additional built-in AI technology if failover of VMS?
No, we do not depend on any camera functionality at all for analytics. Camera is, as we take the analogy, camera is just the eye, it's the device that gives the feed, the live feed, and the brain is the one that is processing that and telling me what is it that I'm actually seeing. It's not the eye that is telling me what I'm seeing. So it's the same way. Camera is the eye that gives the live feed, and the DURANC Vision software is the one that processes it and tells you, triggers the events and alerts, etc. So there is no specific feature or functionality that's required from the camera. Any camera we can take and run the analytics on it, except just one or two cases where if it is a facial recognition, the resolution needs to be higher. It's not that we need any specific camera, but the resolution of the camera needs to be higher. So on analog cameras, the accuracy levels will go down. It's not that we cannot do, but we do it, but then the accuracy levels will slightly go down if you use analog camera for facial recognition, for example. Similar thing with the license plate recognition as well. So we need higher resolution for license plate recognition. So on an analog camera, if we do it, the accuracy levels would go down, but that's why we prefer IP cameras. Other than these two, rest of all the analytics, there is no restriction in terms of what type of camera that we use.
Okay, wonderful, very important, very educative session that we have today, and good questions from the audience. As I said, the importance of surveillance in campuses is extremely important. You don't know what's happening just outside the gate, and also what happens to the way inside the vehicle that transport the students. So I'm sure every schools in the country, everybody, 99% they have the CCTV. In the beginning we were discussing, though they have a CCTV, they don't know what more they can do. They think just monitoring, having many monitors in the room, they feel it is secure. No, not that so. So the VMS with the AI can do wonders. Can really, you can dictate and you can command what you want. That is provided to you at your doorstep. So features on DURANC VMS is something that you will not see in many other software that is available in India. I would request the audience here to write to us, to interact with us further if you have any more questions. And I'm sure Vamshi and Krishnan will be more than happy to assist you with your right answers. And those educational institute which has a chain of colleges across the country, ideal that you can centralize all the information of various schools in various cities and bring it to one platform. Over to Srini.
I would like to add one small point. Any one of you require more information, you can directly reach to us. And also further to that, if you would like to see any proof of concept, please, connecting your cameras to our cloud and then want to try it out for a week or 10 days, please feel free to call us or free to, reach out to us in the email. We will try to connect those and then, provide you the full POC, proof of concept.
So that's a good news. You're saying that you can do POC. Any one of them are interested to, see how does it work on the cloud. So Nitin Deshmukh finally is asking question, any more cabling from missing is required for the AI surveillance? No, of course.
No.
The answer, you don't need it. It's a software that works on.
Yeah, so we are a complete software side of the solution. We are like an ERP for surveillance. We are completely agnostic with network and also the kind of cameras that are there in the field. You mount a camera on the drone, and if you would like to bring that feed through DURANC and do some analytics and also broadcast to 1,000 people, right, at the same time, we're okay to do that.
So what it says is any camera, any make, any model, any recording devices can work with DURANC VMS. So,
correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Last word from Vamshi before we close this.
No, I guess, thank you very much for taking the time and staying through the presentation. We hope we made you worthwhile of your time. And for any further questions, please do reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer and provide a proof of concept also if required. Thank you.
So Srini and Vamshi, what is the next webinar and what is the next episode would be? What is that you're trying to cover? We have covered warehouses, we covered institutions. So what else? I'm sure there are many.
Oh,
there
yes.
are quite a few. We'll need to pick and choose. So we will see what makes more sense and then pick up the next. So we ensure that we come out with something more interesting.
So it's like a serial. Question mark.
Absolutely.
Wait and watch. We'll let you know. So what
Yes,
happens? We'll not
let the suspense continue.
Let the suspense continue. Wonderful to have you all, gentlemen. Thank you, Srini. Thank you, Vamshi. God bless you. Wonderful session. I enjoyed this webinar thoroughly. Look forward to see you again. Ladies and gentlemen, bye-bye. Have a safe weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.